And it says we are live. It's Thursday night. I'm here. You're beautiful. That must mean it's time for GotBot Goes live. Those of us that are joining us from the U.S., happy Thanksgiving to you. I know it is American Thanksgiving. Here in Canada, of course, we had it weeks and weeks ago, and some other countries had it months ago, and some others had it earlier in November. Well, guess what, my U.S. friends? It is your turn. I hope you are enjoying your long weekend. I assume it's a long weekend. I assume that you guys get today and actually tomorrow off. If you're planning on, hitting up the Black Friday stuff tomorrow, good luck to you. I never do. It's not something that I ever go in for, but I know a lot of people do. And I know it's actually very popular. I hope that you've enjoyed your turkey day. I hope that you are settled in. We're going to go through some of the news. I have no idea what the turnout is going to be like here tonight. I, of course, am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, a.k.a. GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you're at it, light them up, baby. Oh, do it. Come on. Doesn't want to do it this week. There we go. Hit the notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, become a channel member at any given time, baby. And hit the join button. Boom. Okay. Like I said, I have no idea exactly how busy or not we will be here tonight. We will certainly see. Let me just deal with as much as I can here. Hey, Blue. Hey, Blue Star. Hey, Francis. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you with all the overeating stuff, right? That's all right, Ash. You do what you got to do. Family first. I'm going to mention this now. I see input there. I'm going to touch on something that input actually gave a really excellent discussion on yesterday. I think it was yesterday. By the way, it's Joe Colton, the original G.I. Joe. Joe Colton. He'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so if you want more detail of what I'm going to kick the news off with first in just a moment, I highly recommend you go back because input goes into far more detail than I'm actually planning on doing. Hey, Boss Gunny. Hey, Dragonfly. Hey, Mike. Hello, Lance. So let's kick things off. First things first, Hasbro news. Let's get that out of the way. And a couple of very important things to note here. Yeah, I knew. Well, I was like, man, it's Joe Colton, right? So a couple of things to note about Hasbro this week. They announced first and foremost that they are pulling out of co-funding any more Hollywood projects. I'm not really surprised. I mean, they bought E1 only to kind of ruin that brand, and then they offloaded it. They got real lazy with Age of Extinction and The Last Night. With the Transformers franchise, they got real lazy, poor editing. They didn't care about it. They said, oh, the fans are going to love it anyway. And you know what? I like it anyway because I didn't overthink it. And I knew that they aren't great films, but like a lot of the fiction isn't great. Like I love G1, but go back and watch a few episodes and tell me that it's good writing and editing. We all know it's not. Let's be realistic here. So I went into the live action movies not expecting a whole lot. And Bumblebee was okay. I get that they even felt like they were off the rails after The Last Night. Bumblebee was okay, but by then, and Input talks about this quite a bit, you had already done damage to the good graces of the masses and to the franchise. So people had already been disappointed by a couple of your films. So as soon as Bumblebee came out, it had to be smaller because a lot of people were like, I don't expect much from this. And the G.I. Joe films, I mean, one didn't perform well, and then the other one got delayed by a whole year. That did not help it, even if you had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it. So there were a lot of stumbles there. It didn't help that fans started to pan everything that came after Transformers Prime. Fans that are, fans have not helped the franchise either because they've complained about things that have been bad, but unfortunately they've also complained about a number of things that have been very good. You go back to RID 2015. Started off slow, first season rough, but it turned out to be a great show. Cyberverse, first season, first six episodes especially, rough. But season 2 was better and season 3 was excellent. The problem is they took too long to grow into that. So they're getting out of the Hollywood stuff. What will that mean for the films and whatnot going forward? I don't know, but I've already heard some people say, good. That way they could take a break and focus on, and I hate hearing this, the legacy fiction. Man, how much more legacy fiction can you focus on? You've already done everything G1 to death. You've already done everything Beast Wars over again. If you're going to go back to that legacy fiction, you have to focus on RID 2001 and Unicron Trilogy. You have to focus on that. Because, again, I don't think Prime is far enough removed out. That said, I would also argue that Rise of the Beast is the best live-action film that they've done structurally. And one is a phenomenal film. Poorly marketed, but once you see it, it's a phenomenal film. We don't know, again, if they will even do the proposed Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. Some people have said, fire Lorenzo. You can't fire Lorenzo. He is the producer. He's the guy who backs the money. He might decide not to do any more films, or Hasbro might decide, hey, if you want to do them now, you got to back it all yourself. And he might say, nope, sorry, I'm out. But that's a business choice. It seems like they are moving very much in a direction of doing two things. One, they will license out their brands, which is okay. But you have to remember now that if you're licensing them out, prices will go up yet again, because now Hasbro's still going to want their cut, but now they're licensing out to somebody else, like a Super 7, for example. Super 7 is going to want their cut. So you look at the O-ring G.I. Joes. I haven't seen them yet. I would certainly like to have a couple of them. I have no idea what the price is. But if I go to pick one up and the price for an O-ring G.I. Joe is $30 Canadian, I'm not getting that. I'm not spending $30 on something that's 3 3/4 inches. That's insane, you know? But if I can get it for $15, yeah, sure, okay, cool. The problem is, and Input talks about this quite a bit, is if you keep putting this out to these other companies and licensing it out to these other companies, and either they do a good job at a silly price, or they do a bad job, both will devalue the brands, and it's going to be harder to shop around licenses if the brands are devalued. The second thing Hasbro is doing is saying, we're going to move into digital and like video games, and we're going to do D&D. Now, I recently kind of spoke about it and said, D&D is popular. They're probably trying to capture the same sort of magic that Pokemon had, going from a card-based gameplay to video game-based gameplay. And it was pointed out to me that like Baldur's Gate, which I don't know anything about, is also connected to it. So they're probably trying to parlay off that. Maybe. But then we recently saw that beat 'em up that's going to be the G.I. Joe game that, it doesn't look like anything special. You know, as soon as you say video games, Transformers Rise? Oh, wait, excuse me? Reactivate. Where's that thing to? I don't know if going into video games is going to be your next big move that's going to save your company. I've been saying since 2021 that I do not see Hasbro lasting to 2031. I don't see anything to change my mind about that. It may be restructured. It may become a company that focuses on something else. But Hasbro, as we have known it, will not last 10 years. I still stand by that. Now, that said, let's say you're sitting there, you're thinking, GotBot, they're such a big, huge company. They're going to be just fine. I've already talked about, and so has Input, so has a lot of creators, talked about problems with their valuation, and talked about how they have, while all companies have had some price increases and stuff, Hasbro has led by far in terms of volume and frequency of how often and by how much percentage they increase prices, especially in the last couple of years. Though that seems to kind of peter off a little bit now. But see, now they have another new problem on the horizon with a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit, because long story short, they basically have lied to lied to investors about things like, and this is like securities fraud. So this is no joke. Like, this is a serious filing. But they've lied about things like their stocks amount, like how much product they actually have on hand, their overproduction, their under sales, and by how much they have undersold. Here's the thing. All of that leads to market speculation among investors and fear among investors, and then investors want to sell, sell, sell. The problem is if the company is in bad water, bad shape, or has lied to investors, it's a lot harder to sell that stock because now nobody wants to buy it. That's one company. You know what happens when every company is led by speculative investment? Meaning, hey, maybe we'll sell this much. We hope to sell this much. This is our plan, but you don't know if it's going to happen. You know what happens when every company uses that tactic and investors eventually feel like, oh my goodness, this can't actually happen. We need to sell. And all companies want to sell. It's called the Great Depression. And I've been saying for years, this is why we have to learn about history. This is why we have to avoid this stuff. This is why we have to, as customers, hold companies accountable to the customer, not the investor. Because the investor, they're going to get off of a sinking ship. And the only way a company survives is to have loyal customers continuously buying. Hasbro's not doing that. When you take a company that has lost $3 billion in value, when you take a company that is now facing a class action lawsuit of $9 million, to the tune of about $9 million, with a target of investor profits of 20% and they're only at 13%, you cannot raise prices anymore because the market won't support it. It's as simple as that. You got a problem. And if you think your big answer is going to be video games, I think you got a real big problem. Again, you want to talk about a saturated market? So, to all those people who a few years ago, when I said that Hasbro's in hot water, looked at me and laughed and, Hasbro will be fine. No, they won't. And you got a lot of egg on your face. I see no evidence to suggest that Hasbro now or in the future, anytime soon, especially under Chris Cox, is going to be fine. If the board of directors were smart, he would be removed like that. But that's just my opinion on it. Make of it what you will. I like to deal in reality and facts and numbers and math and figures, and that's what the figures are painting. So, you know, and you can look all this up. If you think I'm lying, look it all up. The evidence is there. Watch Input's show that he did. Was it yesterday? Input to verify for me, because I watched it today, but I didn't notice the date on it, the timestamp. I think it was yesterday, right? Go and watch it because Input goes into a lot more depth than I am. Let's just run down here a little bit. Let's see exactly where we are. Hey, Tony. I bet a lot of people got that food coma. Sad thing is the past 3 movies I thought were some of the best ones that they've done, but the damage is already done. Again, you talk about that brand damage. The damage was already done from the last night, that they can do what they like now, and even fans are going to find things to nitpick about. But you're right, Mike. You're absolutely right. They're looking at a bad winter storm here, saying anywhere from 3 to 36 inches of snow. That's a big difference. 3 inches to 3 feet. That's nuts. You know what's funny? Normally here we get a lot of that sort of stuff, snow, right? We've had the most rain in November that almost we've ever had. We've had like 300 millimeters of rain, something like that. And November only got a couple of days left, but like it's been soaking wet with rain and shockingly mild temperatures. I think when this system finally moves off, I think we're going to go into quite the deep freeze. Time will tell. Hey, Manitoba. Unfortunately, the more new TF fiction we get, the more critical we're likely to be of it. I'm not. I look at each new piece of fiction. I'm not critical of it. And I'm certainly not measuring it by the past. I look at each new piece of fiction as an opportunity to expand on the lore. And that's exactly what Rise of the Beast did. That's exactly what One does. That's the way the franchise needs to go film-wise. And Earthspark got absolutely panned. Earthspark's a brilliant little show, and it's a fun show that explores a whole new realm of Transformers and a whole new origin. Like, I love the fact that it's new because I can't predict it. I don't know how it's going to go. And I like that about it. Let's see. Wasn't the whole movie stuff the idea of the last CEO of Goldner? I mean, no. Goldner's big idea was the aligned continuity when they had the Bible of Revelation. Unfortunately, too many cooks got in the kitchen. I've talked about this, especially on Patreon. Too many cooks got in the kitchen and really ruined what could have been a beautiful thing. Because they were like, I'm not going to follow those ideas because I got my own. They're better than yours. And they really weren't better. They should have followed it. And everything would have tied together pretty elegantly if the Bible of Revelation had actually been followed. It wasn't. That was the big problem. Transformers doesn't have the best record for solid video games. I mean, Rise of the Dark Spark, you know. We love FOC. We love War for Cybertron, but Rise of the Dark Spark. You know, they're doing now and we'll see this in a little bit, they're doing another mobile game. Like they've done Earth Wars. Now they're going to do Eternal Wars or whatever it's called. Like, how many of these mobile games can you have? I played Earth Wars for a while. I was kind of an ambassador for it, but like when it got to the point where like I had to pay for stuff, like I'm not paying for stuff for a mobile game. Get real. Hey, Tetranova. For every War for Cybertron game, there's what? They're like the movie-based games. Oh, yeah, for every War for Cybertron, there's the movie-based games. Yeah, I got you. I hear you. Hey, Caldio. Hey, Razor Beer. Only games worth anything are the High Moon ones, which, of course, is War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. Devastation was fun. It was short, but it was fun. Hasbro needs to release a good episodic show that is on the biggest, most reliable platform that they can get. Yes, limiting stuff in the U.S. to this Paramount Plus stuff is nonsense. Here, I can't speak to that because here, for example, Earthspark comes on weekly on YTV, right? I record it on my DVR, and that's how I watch it. I don't pay for Paramount Plus. As a wise man once said, if you don't plan ahead, you plan to fail. Absolutely. Oh, goodness. The trash company, Waste Management, did something similar. If y'all want to look that up. Yeah, you're right. They did. Hey, Master Fire, hope you had a great Turkey Day, buddy. I saw your post earlier. It's not completely wrong as some parents get their kids phones and devices. However, it's still a bad move as making AAA games is even more expensive and costly. It is, indeed. Show was yesterday. I thought so. I thought it was yesterday input because I feel like I saw like that you were live and I was like, oh, I'll go to that in a minute. And I was finishing my supper or something, whatever it was. And when I went back, it was over. I'm like, oh man, I had just missed you. So I watched it then today. People didn't think the Pan Am could fail, right? There you go. I mean, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I've been saying that for a few years. Anyone watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? You know what? I have in the past. I was actually busy today doing stuff because I as you guys know, I was very sick. I'm finally coming back around and getting things on track, thankfully. I didn't go to work today. I was actually home, and my wife and I actually got some stuff accomplished. It was pretty nice, actually. Hey, Tens. Hasbro now is all about lining their pockets, and unfortunately, they're doing a poor job of lining their pockets too, which leads to failure if not changed. Absolutely. You can't do it forever. Same happening with Disney. Same happening. You're not wrong. The damage is done, and unless we put a Beast War, unless they pull a Beast Wars, then we may enter a semi-dark age for Transformers media. And wouldn't that be a shame? Because if you go back over what I've been saying, at least since 2017, I think that you'll see a common theme of if we don't support stuff and if we don't demand the best from this company, and if we don't take our power back as consumers and as fans and make our voices heard, Transformers is going to go the exact same way as other franchises like G.I. Joe, and it'll go on the shelf for a number of years. And I've been trying to warn of it, and people made fun of me and stuff, and that's fine. Tell me when I'm telling lies. There's never been a Walrus Transformer. Interesting. I don't think there has either. That's a good point. I don't know if I'd want that as my alt mode personally. The closest we had was a background Maximal who was a Walrus in Beast Wars Neo. Yeah, you're right. Hey, Toxic. My night's going well. I'm not American, so it's not a happy Thanksgiving to me, but I appreciate the sentiment all the same. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope that you've had a great one with your family and friends. Chris Cox is doing the FAFO thing. I don't know what that means, but okay. When I mean Beast Wars, I'm talking about, yeah, more drastic and huge changes. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I didn't think you literally meant Beast Wars. We've already done that, but I get what you're saying. Speaking of Transformers Tactical Arena, my biggest problem with the designs are so good. Why must the designs be exclusive to mobile games? Good point. We did Transformers Armada, Longtooth. Longtooth turns into a truck, though. Hey, Albert. Yeah. I mean, people forget that it's the consumer that has all the power. Company got to win you. You don't have to win the company, right? Oh, F around and find out. Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right. Now that we kind of got we'll say the unpalpable out of the way, there's a ton of great news this week. Stuff that I'm actually pretty excited about, plus the unboxing. Let's jump into that. And how about we kick things off with, I don't know, let's say this. Boom. And this is Nemesis Prime. And actually, I'm going to cover a few things here. So let me kind of go up because I had so much open and I was like, man, I don't want to have everything open here. First things first, with Eternal War, which is something that Caldeo was sort of talking about. Here is the CAD model of Optimus Prime. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, bit chunky for sure, but like it's very recognizable. I'd be very interested to see it all colored up. I feel like he's going to have gray or silver in the elbows. I would like for them to be red. But like it's a pretty good looking Optimus. I do think, however, that the Megatron looks pretty darn sinister. I really kind of like this Megatron. It is a departure from a traditional Megatron. I do want to see it fully colored, but he looks like a big burly brute. Like he looks like somebody who would be a gladiator who would mess you up. And you know what? I think I really like that. So let's just close that out. By the way, I need to go here for just a moment. Close that. Okay. How about next I didn't mean, you know what? I meant to do a few things there, didn't I? That's all right. Let's do this. So Transformers 1 it's really weird. Transformers 1 is, there's this book, I suppose you would call it, on eBay. And it's The Art of Transformers 1. But like it was really only released to like crew and Critic Choice Association members. So is this actually going to even be available officially to the public? I don't know. But if you're into the art books and whatnot, it might be worth looking it up on eBay if you trust that enough to actually buy from it. Now, that said, and like there's a few things, like not for nothing. I mean, there's a couple of interesting pictures here with it. A note from the director, which I'm not planning to read through. And like that's the cover, right? That's the back. It was beautiful artwork in it. So even if you didn't really like the film, man, it's hard to deny the artwork. Let's go back here for a moment and go actually way down, way down. Bear with me here, guys. And I do apologize a little bit here. Okay. Culture Fly. We'll try and get this. Like these are snippets. Culture Fly. This is an Optimus Prime bookend. I mean, I guess you could get two and put them at either end. What I do like about this bookend is it's not just a boring bookend. It actually looks like Optimus coming through a door. And I sort of respect the detail that went into this. I don't really need bookends. We have bookcases that are pretty chogged, actually. But like, if you need some bookends, I think that this is a good way to go. It would be nice if there was an alternate Megatron one, maybe. But for the Optimus one, I think it looks really good. That said, we also have from Kang Toys. Some color images of their sludge. Sorry if that went off as I was changing. I apologize. We talked about sludge last week. I said I would like to see him in color to see if he's more recognizable. And this is kind of what we got. I mean, I guess that's sort of sludge. There's a lot of junk on his back. You know, up on his hind legs, that doesn't look too sludgy to me. I don't know. It's okay. But then I see this and I'm like, man, I would not know that this is sludge. Again, does it look cool? Is it a neat design? Does it look burly? Yes. Would I ever in a billion years recognize this as sludge? No. Do I think that hammer is cool? Yes. So like, there's things I like about this, but I would almost have to get it as like its own character because I don't see a sludge here. I don't know. It's a stylized design from this company for sure, but I mean, it's not like we haven't seen it from them before. Look at the Predacons. Just a couple more things. This here, I started to talk about. So this is the threezero Deluxe Revenge of the Fallen Nemesis Prime. It's their Optimus Prime done as, of course, Nemesis Prime. And like, I'm not going to go into all the pictures, but like, I think this stands somewhere around 11 inches, I think 11, 12 inches, very hyper detailed. If you like threezero's Deluxe Optimus, you're probably going to like this. Why wouldn't you like this? It's a very impressive piece, as is everything from threezero. Does not transform, but looks splendid on the shelf. And I'll go up to here. So this is, I talked last week about the, I want to make sure again I'm saying the name right, about the Aldi Alpha Action Elite Wave 1. And there was a number of figures in it. Well, these are a couple of, I guess, chase figures, you would call them. One is a clear Sandstorm. The other is a metallic G1 toy deco of Optimus Prime. You know, it has silver on the legs. You can see the detail, the extra detail there on the arm. And I think it also has yellow eyes. You know, some extra, even some extra detail on the knees. Looks brilliant. The clear is really cool if you got light behind it. A lot of people don't like the clear. Again, and I've said this a billion times, it's no better or worse than any other plastic. I don't know why it gets such a bum rap. It does, but I don't think it's warranted. And if you're wondering about size, I mean, they're not big, right? They're not big, but very articulated, very, very cool to look at. You know, we already have the toy accurate Optimus. If you want this one, I mean, I guess you could try and find them. I don't know how easy it will be because I believe these are meant for the Asian market. I could be wrong about that. Do not quote old GotBot, but I think that I'm right. I think I am. As we go back. And I think that was the only other thing that I wanted to show here. I will show this. So we know that Cybertron Con is coming up in Shanghai, December 6th to the 9th. And with that is going to come certain exclusives and whatnot. And we're going to talk about this in just a little bit too with Hasbro stuff. But YOLO Park is doing, of course, they don't want to come up. Come on. There you go. YOLO Park is doing a clear version of their AMK Pro Optimus Prime. This still looks great. Again, I don't know why they have all of the clear stuff, but whatever works for you, I guess. The AMK is pretty cool. Now, that's not the only thing, though, that's going to be part of Cybertron Con 2024. Again, returning after 8 years to China. I think it's really important to know that this is in Shanghai, China. Really important to know. YOLO Park throwing, their hat in the ring with some official product. And you know what? Cool, I guess. Now, let's just close that out for a minute. And I'm going to see if I can find the other things I want to mention here. Bear with me here. This would be one. Boom. This is a rumored MPM Brawl. So will it be a deco change? I don't know. This is definitely a different box than MPM Brawl had. This will be an exclusive to Cybertron Con. Or so it is being said. Similarly, though I don't think I have an image of it here, Magmatron, Legacy United Commander Class Magmatron is also being given a new box, new artwork, will also be apparently an exclusive to Cybertron Con. And not for nothing, but, and I think we all know this by now, and if we don't, we definitely should know this by now, but I think the big one, where are you? I think the big one is this. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime that will come with a sticker sheet to make him more G1 toy accurate. Also an exclusive apparently to Cybertron Con 2024. So a Commander Class Magmatron, an MPM Brawl, and a Commander Class 86 Optimus that anybody, for example, like Input, who loves toy accuracy, would probably see this and be like, man, the stickers on the arms. Personally, I think the stickers on the arms probably should have been gray. The chest stickers to give him the cell-shaded look. On the knees, you have added detail. There have been pictures where the vents on his lower legs are, in fact, silver. The eyes, though I think in these particular pictures, they're still blue, they can be made yellow. If those are stickers, they would be brutal to apply. And the yellow triangle detail on his forearm. Not to mention, look at the trailer. The traditional toy accurate line with the white and blue and Optimus's Autobot logo. Now, I personally, being cartoon accurate, I want my 86 to look exactly like he does. But if you're toy accurate, you're probably going to want this. And you'll even notice that the windows on Optimus there look a bit different again. So you might be given more than one option of stickers for his windows. Some people thought it was paint. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's a sticker sheet. Right? Like that isn't cell shading, but his chest windows definitely look different. No doubt about it. And I think, again, his eyes are blue here. Now, you might say to yourself, GotBot, why? Why are they supporting this so much? It goes right back to Hasbro. So Hasbro, they have, of course, factories in China, factories in Vietnam, factories in a number of European or a number of Asian nations. They also realize that they are in some hot water, both legally and with investors, and really with gouging fans in North America, specifically in the US. Look, I'm going to tell you now, there is absolutely no market on the planet Earth bigger than both China and India. And if you're going to be a multinational business, and if you want to make sure to maximize your profit, you better get in those nations. And make no mistake, those nations know how big and influential they are in the world of both finance. And if they play their cards right and manipulate the right countries and the right people in those countries, how politically strong they can be. Again, very much worth noting what they're doing here. I think it's cool that they're supporting this con. I like to see the expansion into new markets, into new territories. But watch where they're going, because it's very telling about where the world is shifting to. But I just found that very interesting. If you live in China, if you're traveling there and going to Shanghai, I got to believe that Cybertron Con is going to be a heck of a time, especially since it's something that seems like it's being actively supported by Hasbro itself. Let's check in with you guys before we go on again and see what you guys are saying here a little bit. I'll go back to about here. Kershaw, Lorenzo, and Chris Cox. See, I don't have a hate for Lorenzo. I really don't. I haven't had a problem with the films. I've enjoyed them. But I take them for what they are. They could do a more Beast Wars style Transformer. He'd be unstoppable against any vehicle-based bots. Don't spill leaks for input. What? Don't spill leaks for input? Okay. I have to believe the art book would be pretty decent if it was available. I believe so too. Well, it is, but I don't know if it's like, you know, I had a copy and I'm selling it on eBay, so it's not really an official release per se. The animation looks stunning in Transformers 1. I agree. It really does. Industrial Light and Magic done, well, they done magic there. I finally saw it. Don't think it was the most amazing thing ever made, but it was dramatically different than how it was promoted. It's the best story that they've told. I'm not even going to be open to a debate to that because there is no debate. It is the best story that they've told, structurally speaking. Like if I was going to grade it, it would get an A+ because it hits everything. Not saying that you personally like it or dislike it, but it is the best story that they told. That's very Zoids-esque. It is very Zoids-esque. You're right. That's not sludge, right? That was my take too, Blue. I would love to see Ginrai return. Looks almost Power Rangers. Yes, it does. I see that. Hey, Bumblebee. What? Bro, he looking smack? Okay. The Stegosaurus can be named Bite Punch? Maybe. Toy over tune. See? Input would run toy over tune. As we go down here a bit. Would definitely stay with Ginrai being a master of some sort and really play up something like he's not Optimus. Yeah, I would want him to be Ginrai. I don't want him to be Power Master Optimus Prime. I'm with you, Tony. Let's see. I need to get MPG. God, Ginrai. If you do, then you do. I don't need to get MPG. Nothing. They're wildly expensive. But I understand if you feel the need to, for sure. Hey, Stardust. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hey, Tim A. Black Friday, November. Happy Black November. I rewatched the Prime Wars trilogy. Megs and Overlord were the best part. They were. I'd love to see that iteration of Overlord be a big baddie and a lot more fiction, honestly. He did not get enough time to shine there. Yeah, oh yeah, they're definitely stickers. For sure they are. The only masterpiece I want is MP Jazz. Happy for those who can get the MP Brawl, though. Apparently, Hasbro is in legal trouble over producing. Yeah. Well, that's part of the lawsuit is that they overproduce stuff, right? And of course, it went heavily discounted. Yeah. And they didn't report that accurately. Walmart 40th Optimus Prime, $53. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not in for any of this reissue G1 stuff. It's just the G1 stuff. I wanted it to be better when I was 5. I want it to still be better at 46. I'm watching the Unicron trilogy again. It's been enjoyable. Really? Unicron trilogy and enjoyable? Can't get behind that, but whatever. You do you. But speaking of Unicron trilogy, I want to give a shout out to El Rodo 14, who pointed out to me that you could, in fact, leave, because I don't like these stabilizer legs on Legacy Evolution Optimus Prime. But he pointed out to me that you could leave this here in the leg and it's actually more animation accurate. And I said, wait. Wouldn't that kind of lock the knee, thinking of the base mode? And he said, no. He said, you still got full range of the knee. And I was like, wouldn't I have a spike knee then? But you know what? Not really. I really sort of, when I done the review, I actually pulled this chunk back out and put the stabilizer away. In retrospect, because I don't use the stabilizers, honestly. In retrospect, I would have just pushed it up and in there. I didn't have to take the leg out. So I actually stand corrected. Shout out to him. A few people mentioned it, but he was the first one to mention it to me, so he gets the shout out. So yeah, and it's more animation accurate. I will also note this. I didn't notice it at the time because the pictures I looked at didn't really show it, but I looked at some more after. I said his look in super mode was 10, and I still stand by that, though admittedly it's probably 9.9 because the eyes here are gold and they should be red apparently. And honestly, I wouldn't have known that. Again, not my era, not my prime, but I wanted to certainly give him a shout out about this and rectify the fact that I was mistaken about the eyes. Your boy GotBot might be a complaining curmudgeon, and I certainly vehemently defend my position when I know for a fact it's right. But when I'm wrong, and I'm the first man to admit it, and I appreciate it when people can point out things that are objectively right. But kind of cool all the same that I was able to, to learn that basically, right? Hey, D-Dog. I opened a $75. What? It opened at 75, not for me though. The part of the reason why Transformers 1 failed was Transformers fans were having the Marvel fatigue of dealing with. Well, I don't even think it was Marvel fatigue. I think they saw the commercials, and instead of waiting and giving it a chance, they just said, "This is for kids. I don't like it. I'm a big baby." Because that's what it was. That's all it was. And it really got on my nerves because it's like, why are you saying you love something when you obviously don't? You're just here to complain about it. You know what? Just shut up. It's as simple as that. The breakage is scary on that Prime. Now, according to Dragonfly, and he's the only person that I've heard it from, but according to Dragonfly, these panels that are really his leg break, and he said that they're really tight. Like, mine aren't at all. Mine are not. I mean, one finger, no problem. Mine don't tab in. They're fairly loose, actually, and it's the same on the other side, really loose. But he showed me pictures. These have indeed, on many copies, broke off. I didn't mention it in the review because I didn't know it existed. And if anything, mine are a little bit loose. Not loose enough that they're flopping around, but loose enough that I'd say they're a little bit loose. But interesting that he has seen the breakage on that panel. So be careful with yours, I guess. I heard that in Euro G1, they wanted to use Star Convoy as a turbobot like Thundertron. Oh, I have no idea. I wouldn't know. Hey, DJ, happy Thanksgiving. It's almost as if Hasbro themselves sabotaged the success of Transformers 1. And maybe they did. Who knows? I don't know. Let's move on, my friends. How about we go here next to a little bit of Missing Link. And shockingly, more Missing Link than I thought we were going to have. I think we all knew, of course, that we had a Missing Link Sunstreaker coming. But because the Sunstreaker mold was destroyed long ago, they kind of really had to do this over from scratch. Well, Hasbro, never to be outdone, wanted to make sure, hey, we get our money's worth, so we're going to get repaints. So naturally, if we're getting Sunstreaker, we are going to get Corden. Interestingly, they haven't shown a spin out unless they're saving the Diaclone colorations for later on. But Corden and Sunstreaker. I think a lot of people that are like kind of diehard G1 fans in terms of like they've gone back and gotten the retro stuff and whatnot, unless you've had the KO Sunstreaker, which I did review, this is probably your best bet to getting a G1 Sunstreaker. I really feel like that if you want a Sunstreaker, you're really kind of going to have to go this route. I think it's the best option. Take for that what you will. We also have this from Killer Body. Killer Body does helmets. They do very high-end helmets, actually. And this is Optimus without all of his like armor on. So he has a face and he has a head and stuff. Here's half the armor on. Here's all the armor on. Very G1-esque. Just a couple of things, I guess, to note about that here. It's a G1 Optimus helmet with removable armor. The armor is 15 magnetic plates, and you can kind of see them all there. I like the magnetic stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. You can see the detail in here. Is this cheap? No. Is this super detailed and cool? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Leave it to Killer Body, right? We also have, from DNA Designs, notice anything different about Animated Motor Master? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you should because he has a new head. So the Motormaster set of it is the same set basically that came out for animated Optimus Prime, which gives him the wings and the higher feet and basically like powers him up, right? Like a Jetwing Optimus, except a Motormaster. Because remember, in animated, they did not combine into the Menasor, right? The Stunticons did not combine. But there is, pardon me, an alternate head. This is not the stock head that he has in package and whatnot. It's an alternate head. So that's going to be part of the first run. If you're in for it and you want the alternate head, then I don't know. I guess you're going to have to get the first run of this DNA design set. Going to Age of the Primes with this. Boom. It is the latest images of Armada Red Alert, and a lot of people figured, hey, it's going to be just the reuse of the, Cannonball crankcase mold. It's obviously not. Are there things from that borrowed for this? Yeah, quite possible. Probably around the shoulders, maybe the way the chest flips down, I'm not sure. But undoubtedly, the lower body here is very different. And this is a Voyager. Now, what's interesting is this. Both of these are Voyagers. Prima is so much bigger. So much bigger. And you know what? I've been looking at the body and stuff here. And we'll talk about the Prima head in a minute. And it's obviously not the aligned continuity design. A lot of people have been saying, oh, it's G1 Prima. No, I don't think it is. And even if you see hints of that there, I think the vast majority of this Prima, not all the coloration, and some of the head certainly has nods to G1, but I think a lot of this Prima, if you look at the artwork, is heavily leaning into the Transformers 1 model for Prima. This is not the same as that, but if you look at the Transformers 1 model of Prima and you look at this, certainly the waist and the legs seem an awful lot like it. This guy does have here, the shoulder pads are folded down. We've seen images where the shoulder pads are up. When the shoulder pads are up, though they're like a silver and not a gold, they look an awful lot like the Transformers 1 versions. Both of these Voyager, I'm kind of struggling to see the Armada Red Alert as a Voyager at this point. He would need a lot more mass as far as I'm concerned to qualify for that. And maybe he'll get it. I hope that Unicron Trilogy fans are happy with how this guy's turning out. That's what I would say about that. And speaking of Prima, I'll get this out of the way, then I'll check in with you guys. See if I can find it here now. Yeah, speaking of Prima, there's the grainy image of the head gotten from underneath the vehicle. And I see why a lot of people are saying G1. There's certainly nods to it. But again, while the ears aren't there, the shape of the face and the brow line, very much like the Transformers 1 version. I would say that this is amalgamation of the Transformers 1 head with the G1 comic book head is what I'm sort of feeling at this point. I need to research it more. Maybe you do too. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out, but I'm not going to lie. This is absolutely not the head that I expected Prima to have. I think that this is quite a departure from what I expected. But I'm excited to see how it turns out. I'm excited to get an official Prima. Really, really am. Let me close that one out, and I'm going to check in with you guys again here just a little bit. Let's see. Commercials totally made it come off as a kids movie. See, I didn't think so. I don't understand why anyone would think it's a kids movie. It's two friends that fall out of friendship so badly that they destroy their world and bring it to war. How can that ever be a kids movie? I don't understand why anyone would even have thought that, because the subject matter and the theme of the story, it's not possible for it to go that way. So I don't know. I know a lot of people say that, but I don't understand how anyone thought that way. Don't get the hate for Transformers 1, even if you looked at it as just a movie, not the story, just a movie and the story. and not Transformers, it's a great story, and it is a great story. Missing Link Sunstreaker looks pretty great. I agree. Missing Link Sunstreaker looks really great and pretty darn articulated, honestly. I got Sunny and Sides. I'd custom them as Wolverine and Deadpool. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Big M. Fun fact, Derek made the animated Motormaster head that would be used for a custom animated Minosaur for BotCon. Interesting. Waiting for Nova Prime DNA kit, and it's delayed until February 2025. I'm still not sure if I'm getting that kit or not. My fear is that I'd have to knock out pins, and I'm not cool with that at all. I might grab Sunny and Corden. Hey, Line. Armada Red Alert is a Voyager. Probably going to have some extra stuff. Maybe. You would need it. They're doing Voyager. They're doing an 86 Hot Rod again. That's what it looks like. Just saying. Must be a ratchet. Must be a ratchet in that Red Alert. Oh, that's good. That's good. The corporate man would agree with you. As far as the Prima, I'm excited, and the fact they're willing to homage the Sunbow cartoon animation I don't see. People have put the Sunbow animation next to this. I don't see it. I do not see what people are talking about. It looks nothing like that animation. It's not the right color. None of the lines are right. I'm sorry. I don't see the Sunbow animation in this. I see a mix of Transformers 1 and the comic book. I don't see anything Sunbow in it. If you do, cool. But I don't think that this is at all a G1 accurate Prima. Not in the slightest. Time will tell when it finally comes out, but I don't see it. Bear fan, see it as a kid's movie. Well, then you're wrong. That's the only thing I can tell you. You're wrong. It's not at all. Not even slightly. No, I don't know when Prime is coming out. I can tell you this. The last wave of Legacy United is at least slated here for like February to March. I don't know. I haven't even seen any of the Age of the Prime stuff mentioned for pre-order or anything like that. I would guess spring at this point. I would guess spring sometime, March, April maybe. We'll see. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything official yet. The first trailer for TF1 was edited away to make it seem like a Marvel movie, and I think that hurts the movie. Maybe, possibly. Kids grow with characters. That's true. I mean, DNA Nova Prime kit does not have. It's not got any pin. Are you sure about that? Because some DNA sets do. You're saying that, but without the set being released, how do you possibly know that? I've heard that you got to knock out pins at the knees myself. So I hope you're right, but I'm not going to say you don't have to. If they did Sunstreaker, they could do the Dinobots then, maybe. Transformers 1 was most definitely not a kids-only movie. No, it gets dark. Real dark. And anybody who tells me that Black Arachnia doesn't send chills up your spine, you're not watching it. No, they're not available for purchase yet, but it's interesting you ask that. Stay tuned. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it because we're in an age when someone at Disney said animation for kids, and then everyone immediately followed suit. Yeah, well, there's a lot of sheep out there. Don't be a sheep. Be a wolf. Still no Missing Link Decepticons. No, you're right. There is no Missing Link Decepticons, which is weird and interesting all at the same time. Okay, let's get going here again because I'm really noticing the time here now. In the UK, there's a Transformers standalone store. Holy moly. And what can I say? Where is this? Where did I note this? Yeah, if it's open, I guess if you're around Boiler House North, Battersea Power Plant. I don't know if that's a mall. I don't know if that's an intersection of roads. I don't live in the UK, but there's a dedicated Transformer store there with a lot of merchandise in it, which sounds really cool, doesn't it? And when you go in, like, all of this looks really cool. And then you start noticing there's a lot of plushies there. There's a lot of those gimmicky Earthspark figures. There's a lot of the blockies or blokies or whatever, like a lot of them. Then you got the Robeson stuff and some of the displays. Obviously, you got some of the Transformers 1 displays, right? Some more little plushies and stuff. And, like, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but, like, I went through all of these images and I was like, I don't know if there's actually anything there I would buy, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff there. I'd want to get my picture taken for sure. Maybe some sort of, like, decal, maybe a t-shirt, you know? But, like, I don't want the gimmicky stuff. I don't need any more Optimus Primes, you know? That's just me, though. Maybe you do. If you live in the UK, I'd say check it out. I know that I certainly would. Like, if I was there or if I ever traveled there, like, I'd have to see it. You got to experience it. Speaking of Age Primes and Prima, Mark Marr also put up some images here of our buddy Megatronus. And I want to note a couple of things that he said here, because I thought it was actually really, really interesting. I just have to find it now. Where is that? Did I actually? Yeah. So Megatronus, all 13 are going to be done over 2 years, apparently. I find that very interesting. And let's just bring up a better image of our guy Megatronus here. Yeah. All 13 are going to be done over 2 years. 13 artifacts basically go together to create the Well of All Sparks. I hope that they actually work that into the figures. This guy comes with his Spark Fuser staff, which is the staff he has in Revenge of the Fallen. He comes with the Requiem Blaster. He comes with an Energon Machete. He comes with a missile launcher, and he comes with flame effects, obviously, because the dude's on fire, right? He is a leader class. Look at that. I assume that's the Requiem Blaster on his arm. You can see him there next to Megatron kneeling. Certainly much heftier than Megatron. Much bigger than Megatron. That's his machete. That's him sitting on the throne with the Spark Fuser. Like, yeah, this is an impressive Megatronus. Cannot wait for him. Really can. Really impressed to see this. We also have from Dr. Wu these, or is it this? This first. Yeah, this one first. This is Gigastorm. We've seen their Trypticon. This is just kind of slightly changing the head. If you know anything about Beast Wars, then you know that Megastorm ends up getting upgraded to Gigastorm. Gigastorm is basically a version of Trypticon. Long story short, in terms of look, right? So while he has a big spike on his head and stuff, it looks like Trypticon. A couple of paint deco differences. A little bit chibi here. We've seen it recently with like their Metroplex and stuff. Oh. And I mean, he turns into the whole Energon cube thing. I mean, like, here's some of the like robot mode images if you didn't see them before. You know, right there we have the base mode, which is a cute version for something so small, honestly. You know, like, I'm not angry at this base version at all. And I guess this is supposed to be like his ship version, I suppose. So it's cute. It's cool. But that's not the only thing Dr. Wu had. Because Dr. Wu also showed this. Yes. Now, very early images of Scorponok. And you can see here, we have the robot mode. We have the Scorpion mode. We have the base mode. And yes, we have that. They call it Energon Cube mode. But not just that. Black Zarek too, with the base mode, the Scorpion mode, and the Energon Block mode. I love this. I think it's adorable. And last for the images, Comes from Unix Square. And I mean, I don't think there's a lot to say here. This is the combo Optimus. We saw grayscale before of it. 19 centimeters, 50 points of articulation, LEDs, a matrix, die-cast parts. Now, it doesn't transform, but it does come apart and reassemble into truck mode. Right? The robot looks cool. You know, I dig the robot. But I wanted to get up to here. This image right here is what I wanted to show you, where you can see how he all comes apart, right? So we have the robot here. He all comes apart and goes reassembled to look like this here truck, which is a convincing truck. It's definitely is the ultimate parts former, but it is what it is, and I think it's kind of cool all the same. Certainly creative. And let's just run through the news, and I'll do the trivia and see your answers, and then we'll do the unboxing. Get out of here. We saw Prima. By the way, we saw vehicle mode pics of it. I mean, it looks okay. Some people said he needs a trailer. No, he doesn't. Prima existed before Transformers ever transformed. By rights, he doesn't have any alt mode. The fact he turns into anything is just a bonus. I'll do it for the review, but other than that, I don't ever see transforming Prima again in my life because he doesn't. It is what it is. We talked about the Eternal Wars mobile game. We talked about the Aldi Alpha, Chase, Optimus, and Sunstorm. The Hasbro issues. Rise of the Beast visual effects designer talked about Stratosphere and how his design was huge. And how he was supposed to be in the final battle but got cut out. So Stratosphere was supposed to have a bigger role. DNA Design Motormaster we talked about. The Killer Body helmet we talked about. All of the YOLO Park stuff and the Commander class stuff and whatnot, that's going to be part of Cybertron Con 2024. The threezero Nemesis Prime, Culture Fly Optimus Prime bookends, the Kang Toys Sludge, if we're going to call it Sludge. Transformers 1, Jazz voice actor Evan Michael Lee, he will be at TF Nation. We talked about the Armada Red Alert. TFCon LA announced that David Sobolov will be there. He is Ape Link from Rise of the Beast. He is Depth Charge. He is Transformers Prime Shockwave. And TFCon LA has also announced that David K will be in attendance. Dr. Wu Gigastorm. By the way, Gigastorm's 10 centimeters big, if you want to know how large he is. I would presume that the Scorponok and the Black Zarek will be about the same. We talked about the TF store in the UK. The Megatronus information and the 13 primes across 2 years. That comes from Mark Marr directly. The Unix Square Optimus, the Missing Link Sunstreaker and Corden, and the Art of Transformers 1. And that brings us all the way back to the trivia. Which of the following was not voiced by Scott McNeil? So of the following characters, one of them was not voiced by legendary Scott McNeil. Was it A, Beast Wars Dinobot? Was it B, Energon Omega Supreme? Was it C, Cybertron Jetfire? Or was it D, Cybertron Snarl? Who was not voiced by Scott McNeil? A, Dinobot, B, Energon Omega, C, Cybertron Jetfire, or D, Cybertron Snarl? Who was not voiced by him? I'm going to check in with you guys while we work on getting down there to those answers. Let's see. My friend took his fiance to see the Transformers 1. She told me she cried on one scene I can't see. Okay. I'm a sheep of the Good Shepherd. Yeah, you might want to think for yourself, Blue. Good idea, but no good products to fly off the shelves. And that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Like, I looked at it and I was like, what a great stock store. But, like, it's all the stuff that shelf forms, really. If I went there, I would want the hard-to-find stuff. Take care, input. And, yeah, when the flags, I will let you know, my friend. I seen a walkthrough of that store. Looks cool, but they're getting other stuff in stock in the near future. And I think they need to get other stuff in stock. When I saw the figure, I was actually excited, probably the first time since Ultra Magnus. Does Megatronus always look like the Fallen even before his downfall? I don't know. I've only ever seen those iterations. I would assume that he always looked the same, maybe without the fire. Hard to say, though, for sure. It's a good question, really. I mean, I expected a Nemesis Prime repaint, but nope. We got a Primus for Forsaken prototype. RC. Yeah, we don't have a Soundwave or a Starscream jet. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I don't get the cube transformers. No, neither do I. I don't get the cube transformers either. Stackable, yeah. I guess you could stack them. Easy for storage, I suppose. CBC, Cybertron Jetfire. And the answer, my friends, is yes, Cybertron Jetfire. Though he did voice Jetfire in Armada and Energon, by Cybertron, they wanted Jetfire to sound more Australian, which is kind of funny considering Scott McNeil himself was born in Brisbane. But he's not Australian enough. Okay. And in case you didn't know, though you probably did, Scott McNeil also voiced Rat Trap, Silverbolt, and Waspinator. Okay, let's finally get out of here. Yeesh. We've been here for a while. Let's do this. Let's do this and get out of here. So we have two things for the unboxing tonight. Tomorrow is going to be this terrible Bumblebee. That's going to be tomorrow's review. You'll see. It's just awful. It'll be very, very quick, I promise. And I'll explain why I'm doing this terrible Bumblebee tomorrow. But we have two things tonight. My wife actually found these for me while I was sick. That week I was down, she was out, and she actually found the two of these on the shelf. And I'm like, oh, yeah, get them for me. Yes, please. The first one, which we'll look at next week. We'll do both of these next week. Next week will be a bit of an Earthspark week because we're going to look at Deluxe Class. I always say hashtag, even though this isn't hashtag. This is Jawbreaker. Deluxe Class Jawbreaker, where I will do a comparison between, because I wasn't really going to get Jawbreaker, because I actually like the Warrior class, but we'll do a comparison between the Warrior and the Deluxe. And I think you might be surprised as to which one I like the best. And this is the one I was the most excited about, Aftermath. I think the character is so cool in the show, and boom. The only real gripe that I will say right now, I'll save everything for the review, but the only real gripe I would say right now is, boy, oh boy, do I wish Aftermath were a Voyager size. I feel like this guy's a good, big, hulky bruiser. I don't think he's big enough to be a leader class, but I feel like size-wise, he could be one honkin' chunky Voyager. And one day, if we ever have any of the Earthspark stuff hit the main Generations line, I feel like this guy would be ripe for a Voyager. That said, we'll look at him next Friday, and man, oh man, his transformation, though some of it you'll see, I don't want to say I gloss over. Some of it I do cuts on because I really need to see it up close. I will say this, his transformation is one of the most interesting that I've experienced in a long time, and really, really intricate and cool, while also being not too hard. It's very well done. Very, very well done. So, Jawbreaker and Aftermath. And with that, my friends, go enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving with your friends and your family. Enjoy the rest of your long weekend. If you're going to hit the stores tomorrow, be safe, be careful. Good luck. Thank you for coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around. Have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget, my friends, not for a moment, not for a second, whether we agree or disagree, that somehow, some way, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.